Okay, let's progress onto a slightly more different question. So you're still going to be rationalizing the denominator, but this time they're asking you to do so, I guess, in a different way. So what they're asking you to find is the value of A and B. And if you look at what they've done, they've started with this, so an irrational denominator, and then they've changed to a rational denominator. And the reason we know it's rational is because this B over here is a whole number, and it's not under a surd, and therefore it's rational. So in other words, this question is telling you to rationalize the denominator. So if we start with 3 over 2 root 5, if you recall the previous questions, in order to rationalize this, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the irrational portion of the denominator. So we're going to multiply it by root 5. Then we're just going to multiply the tops. So 3 by root 5 gives us 3 root 5. 2 by 1 over here gives us 2, and then root 5 times root 5 gives us 5. Simplifying that, we get 3 root 5, and we have 2 times 5, which is 10. So if you have a look back at what we're trying to prove over here, or what we're trying to show, we can clearly see that B is obviously 10, but we don't have A just yet. So what we need to do is we basically need to rewrite this in this form. And the way that you transform that is as follows. So you square this number here and you multiply it by this surd. Okay, so 3 squared is 9, 9 times 5 is 45, so this is the square root of 45. So then it becomes root 45 on top over 10. Therefore, A equals 45 and B equals 10. Let's have a look at this example here as well. So very similar to the question that we just completed. So they want you to find the value of A and the value of B. So in other words, they want you to rationalize this denominator. So first things first, you want to multiply the top and the bottom, yes, by the conjugate. What is the conjugate? We're going to keep the same terms, but we're going to replace the sign with the opposite sign. If it's a negative, it becomes a positive. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to bracket these so that you don't forget that you have to multiply them individually. So then, expanding the top, we have root 2 times root 2. So we're going to be using kind of eyebrows, some people call it. So root 2 by root 2 gives us 2. Root 2 by 1 gives us root 2. 3 by root 2 gives us 3 root 2. And 3 by 1 gives us 3. Have a look at the denominator. It's a difference of 2 squares. So the way that we expand it, you square the first term minus the square of the second term. Great. So that's the hard part essentially. Now we just have to clean it up. So looking for any like terms at the top. So we got 2, we got 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Now we've got root 2 plus 3 root 2. So these are like terms because they have the same surd. And so what you do is you just add the coefficients. So you do 1 plus 3 to give you 4. And you keep the same surd. 2 minus 1 is 1. So then this can be written as 5 plus 4 root 2. So we can see that A has a value of 5, but we just have to do one more step in order to find the value of B. So like in the previous question, I'm going to do it in blue as well. We have to rewrite this in this form. So we have to move this 4 under the surd, and the way that you do that is you square the 4 and you multiply it by the number at the bottom. So the square of 4 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. And so we can rewrite this as 5 plus the square root of 32. Therefore, A equals 5 and B equals 32. There you go. So that's how you rationalize the denominator. The questions are not going to get really any more difficult than this. As long as you understand the basic concept, timesing the top and the bottom by the conjugate, and you follow through with the correct steps, then you should be fine. So just make sure you take it step by step. Your writing and your working out is very clear. There's no reason as to why you should get a question like this wrong. Anyway, I hope that helped. If you guys have any questions regarding this topic or anything else, send me a DM on Instagram or just comment below. Happy studying.